Hello and welcome to my video today. In the last video, I did an unboxing and installation of the 70mm A810 Lite dash cam, which has front 4K and rear 1080p cameras. Today's video is part 2, where I go over the final setup, showing you the dash cam settings and how to use it, as well as the phone app and optimizing the visual clarity with the CPL filter. And then I'm gonna go on a drive and show you examples during the day and nighttime. So let's get started. So the dash cam is powered on for the first time, and I am going to go through the initial setup. I'm gonna use the buttons down here. So we have the up button, down button, and the check or OK button. I'm going to pick system language as English, USA. I'm going to input the time, 2026. We're going to go to 4. All right. Click OK. We have parking surveillance is detected. We're going to leave a collision on, sensitivity medium, and then startup is instant. That seems fine. We can always change these later in the settings. Then we have the app. This is the QR code. I already have the app on my phone. I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. Format the memory card, 64 gigabytes. And it is successful. And now we see both the front and rear cameras there. I need to go into the settings for the video. So let's go into video settings. I'm going to go into high compression. That's looking good. Video resolution, good. HDR on. I am going to have recording. Let's see, I am going to make that longer. I like 3 minutes. Gonna keep the logo on, speed on, coordinates on, anti-flicker. 60 Hertz is correct for North America. Rear recording, cam mirroring. I am going to make rear camera flip. Allow remote live when power on. Yeah, sure, why not? And that's it for video. Let's go back out. We have other settings here. Wi-Fi, you can turn the Wi-Fi on. We'll mess with that later. Screen standby, always on. We can change that to clock. And then we'll go down, stationary auto off. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, let me go back. Hit the check to turn on. I keep forgetting that. System time, we are good. Language, all those things are good. Miles per hour. All right, so I am going to go back out again. Go to the next. Let's see, this is sound. Let's see what sound settings we have. We can have it on off. I usually like turning the sound off. Emergency sound, yeah, why not? Let's do speaker. Let's do speaker. Let's do ultra low. Yeah, I like that. Button sound. I'm going to turn that off. Record audio. Sure. That'll record the cabin. All right, so there we go. We are done. So I'm going to exit that. Going to go into Smart Travel, emergency video on, sure. Driver fatigue, I'm going to leave off. Voice control on. Yep, those look good. And then last thing we have is parking security. 24 hours you can have it running. You can have collision detection on. I'm going to leave that on. Time lapse you can have on or off. If you want to save the amount of space on your SD card, I would do the time lapse. And then a vehicle battery protection, you don't want it to go below 12.0. Let's see what options we have there. You can have it as high or low as you want. I am going to have it 12.0. Actually, you can go lower, but 12.0 seems to be good. Duration, yep, so that's it for parking surveillance. And I think that should be it. Yes, so if we want to switch the camera view, we can press this button here. So now we can see the rear view. And then if we press it again, we see the front view. And then if we press it a third time, it'll go back and forth between those. And then we have emergency recording. You can do that right now. Let it do its thing. That's saving the last 5 minutes of video. All right, and then we got entering album. We don't need to do that right now. And then the last button is settings. So that's pretty much it for the buttons. I do like this view here where you get to see the front and rear at the same time. Before I start using the app, I want to make sure that the Wi-Fi is turned on for the dash cam. So I'm going to go into the menu, and then I'm going to go into System Settings here. Wi-Fi Settings. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi hotspot to on. And there is the information. I recommend changing your password for the Wi-Fi on your dash cam so nobody can get access to it. And now that it's on, I'm going to go into the app. Okay, after entering my email and password, I'm going to log in. And it shows the new device right away. So I am going to add device. And then on the dash cam itself, I'm going to press confirm. And it says device added successfully. I'm going to connect to the dash cam hotspot. And then I'm going to join. And it just gives you a little message here that the function buttons are not responsive when the device is connected and locked. So, got it. And there we go. We have an image on the phone app pretty quickly. That was one of the easiest setups I've seen on Dashcam. So let's look at the picture here. I'm going to increase the size of it so it fills the full screen. And one of the things you can do right now is adjust the angle of the camera so that you have the image exactly where you want it. So you would tilt the actual dash cam here so that most of the image is going to be of the outside view and not of inside the car. So right now I have it so just a little bit of the dashboard is showing. And yeah, so that's the angle that I have it. So you actually move the entire dash cam for that. And then once it's in position, just let it go. It's a very stiff mount, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it moving over time. And while we're here, we got a good image out of the front of the car. And since we have the circular polarizing filter installed right here, I'm going to be turning it while you can see the image. And I'm going to keep turning it until I minimize the reflection. At a certain point, it's going to go back to what the original image is. So that is pretty good. I pretty much got the reflection for the windshield onto the dash to be minimized. So what the circular polarizing filter does is it minimizes in the correct position any reflection on the windshield. So that's really cool. So I think that is looking pretty nice. So I think the front camera is optimized, and let's go to the rear camera. So if I press on the screen, there's a couple of options here. They have a camera where you can press that camera button and it takes a photo. Then there's another button right below it that has a circle, and that switches to the rear camera. So now we have a view of the rear camera, and let's go outside and check it out. So here I am at the rear of the car. We have the dash cam here pointing out the liftgate window, and I can adjust the height of the lens here by rotating on the end of the camera. So if you look at the app, it shows a pretty good view right now, but I can show you when I move it up what it looks like. And I think that's a little too high since it's seeing a bit of the digital rear view camera there, and I'm not seeing down low. So let me rotate it again, rotate it again. So I think this is a little too low because you see the actual lift gate here. So let's see if I can get a little bit higher. All right, so that'll be great. So if there's a car that comes up to me, I can actually see a license plate in this area right here. So yeah, this is pretty good. So once you have the lens rotated to the position that you think works best for you, just leave it alone. You're all set, and the rear camera is now optimized. Now, if you ever have it so that you see a flipped image on the app or on the dash cam itself, just go into the settings and change the rear dash cam to be flipped, and that will show the correct direction on the video. In addition, the Wi-Fi distance is pretty excellent, I would say. I am at the entrance to my garage, a good 50 feet away from the car, and I still have access to the video image. I could actually be inside the house and be able to look at the video from the car. All right, so I'm back in the car. I have the app here. So I showed you the initial features here. You have that camera button to take a photo, and you have that round button to swap between the front and rear cameras. And then we have some other things here called album and settings. Let's look at album, and it's going to say that the dash cam is going to stop recording while we go in album. That's fine. Then they have categories here. You can look at all videos, emergency videos, parking surveillance, time lapse, and photos. So I can click on all videos and I can see the main camera image here, and I can also see the rear camera. So very cool. And if you want to watch any of these, just press the play button. So if you want to download, just press the download button there, and that downloads it to the phone. Super quick. And then it adds it to the phone's photo library. So I'm not going to view now, I'm just going to hit cancel. And then there's the delete button, and if you press the delete, it will say delete the video, and that video is now gone. And you can do that also for the rear camera as well. Then there's a timeline feature, which is really cool. Pause here. So you can go through different videos that we're taking throughout the day. So you can scrub along this timeline here and look at all the videos that were taken at any specific time. So that's very cool. This is very handy, especially if you're using the parking feature, surveillance feature, and you want to go to a certain time during the night or day when you want to see what is going on. You could do that. So yeah, so the timeline is a very neat feature. I do think that is really cool. Then you could download that specific video if you wish by just pressing the button right here. Let's go back out of that and we'll go into settings. Now the settings on the phone replicates the settings that you would have on the actual dash cam itself that I just showed previously. I'm just going to roughly go through these here. You have your video encoding format. I leave it on high compression, which will allow you to have the 4K video. And then if you did want to switch, you could go down to 1080p if you wanted. HDR, I leave on. Duration, 3 minutes. And then we have our watermark for speed, coordinates, logo, anti-flicker at 60. The mirroring and rotation. We have allow remote live when power on. Then we have parking security. You can change that. Let's see the different options. You can leave it for unlimited, 24 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, 4 hours, or 2 hours. So for example, let me change it to 8 hours and that'll be the parking security duration. Then we have collision detection. You can have that for different sensitivities. You can be anywhere from ultra low, low, medium, high, or ultra high. And then you can have it start upon engine turns off. Well, since there's no engine in this car, I'm just going to have it go instantly. And then there's an indicator. So the indicator is the LED light. So if you leave that off, there'll be no LEDs on the dash cam. And that's fine with me. But if you did want to see an LED on the dash cam to indicate that it's running, you can turn that on. So very interesting. Time-lapse photography, you can also turn that on and off. It uses less power and less storage. Then we have the vehicle battery protection. I showed that earlier. Emergency video on. And then you can adjust the sensitivity of that as well from ultra low, low, medium, high, or ultra high. I'm just going to leave it on medium. Driver fatigue reminder, I didn't show that earlier. So in some ways it must detect the driver fatigue and then it'll give you a reminder for that. So I'm going to leave that one off. Voice control English. So you have a choice of a number of different languages. Voice commands. We have keywords here. Take a photo, lock the video, turn on audio, turn off audio, turn on hotspot, turn off hotspot. So you can have those on or off as you wish for specific commands. What else we got here? Sound settings, speaker volume. I set mine to ultra low, or you can just mute it altogether. We have an on-off tone. We have the button sounds. We have record audio. It will record the cabin audio. You can turn that on and off. And then we have emergency video prompt tone. And then more system settings here. We have the language. We have a screensaver for when the screen turns off, kind of like a screensaver mode for a computer. You can have it do that. I like having it on that clock mode. Let's go into Wi-Fi settings. We can have Wi-Fi hotspot turn on every time the dash cam turns on. So if you want to have that every time to have access for your phone, instead of having to go to the dash cam and turn it on each time, you can have it auto start. So that's up to you. And then you can change the password And here's another interesting thing is the Wi-Fi range frequency. You can choose either the 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz bands. So depending on what works better for you, usually in a close situation like this, 5 gigahertz is going to give you the best performance for copying the files. So I'm leaving it on that. Then we have system time and system date format. You can have it on 24-hour or 12-hour formats. Speed units, format, memory card reminder, positioning status. I don't know if I went through that, but that shows the GPS settings here, that it detects the satellites. So that is actually right there. So found the position. Then we have an about thing. This gives you the device name, firmware versions, 4G module, dash cam, and 4G module channel. And then other things you got on the bottom here is synchronize driving route data, retrieve device log. You can format the micro SD card, and you can restore factory setting for the dash cam itself to wipe everything and start over. So that's a quick look at all of the settings here. Going back out, you got your image from the camera, so I can swap back and forth if I want. So yeah, pretty easy to use app. If I hit the back button here, it goes to the main menu, and I'm no longer with the dash cam here. It says that there's a new firmware version update available. I can update now, so let's see how that works. Oh, also it detected the 4G module access here, so your device 70mm dash cam 4K is connected to the module. Do you want to bind that? Yes, I'm going to bind that now. And we inserted the SIM card earlier in the last video. And we connected it to the dash cam. And now we will start the car. And now we're going to start. So it's going to detect that module and the SIM card there. It says, important notice, the system will automatically configure the APM according to currently installed SIM card to ensure your dash cam can be properly connected to the internet. So please ensure that Bluetooth on the phone is enabled. Phone has stable network connection. Dash cam and 4G module are enabled and located near your mobile phone. And the SIM card is correctly inserted into the module slot. So all of those have been done. I'm going to press on OK. All right, it says, congratulations, the 4G module bound successfully. Got it. And now I'm going to download the firmware update for the dash cam. So I'll give you a real example like that. Download. Super quick. Now it says push to dash cam now. Connect. Push. Push now. And just like that, a few seconds, it sent the firmware. All right, so it just told me not to disconnect. All right, so dashcam is going to do the firmware update. I'm going to let it do that. Probably takes a minute or two. Actually says right now, updating, do not stop or disconnect from charger during update. So I'll let it do its thing. Update successful, restarting device. There we go. Firmware update completed. So super easy to do, firmware updates. Down below here, we have information on that 4G module for the hardware kit. We have a whole bunch of different things right here. We have data service. And this brings up a link for the 70My 4G access. And as you can see right here, it shows the data that's been used and also the data that's remaining. This section here shows the package that's included with the kit. It is 300 megabytes of data for the month. If you need additional data, there are packages that you could purchase for subscriptions. And here's an example right here. For US, there are 1 month subscriptions for 1 gigabyte, 3 gigabytes, 5, 10, 15, 30, and 60. And there's also multiple months you could do too if you want to bundle. So it's up to you how much data you need to access. 4G management. We also have battery monitor here. So that's very handy to see. Vehicle location. Alarm center. Remote surveillance. So it will connect to the 4G module and obtain a real-time feed of the dash cam. So it is connected, so I could be anywhere that has 4G access with the app. So I don't need to be connected Wi-Fi to the phone to access the videos on it or change any of the settings. So very convenient. I could be miles away and be able to watch the video from the camera. On the very bottom row, we have Device, Help, and My. If you click on My, that has personal information for subscriptions and routing and albums. So you can go through that, go through settings for your individual settings on this app. Then there's the Help, which goes and shows some videos and links. So very handy to have. And going back to Device is the actual device itself. So yeah, there we go. So that's a good overview of the 70My dashcam app. And if you have multiple dash cams, you can have multiple dash cams showing in the app, and you can just choose the one that you're using in that particular moment. So if you have multiple vehicles, you could have multiple dash cams in the app, and you can just click on each one separately. All right, so that's about it with the app. I showed you a whole bunch of different functions, and now I think we are ready to do some driving. So here is the start of the drive. You are hearing me using the microphone that's built into the dash cam, so you get an example of that quality. So let's do a standard drive to the office, and here I go. All right, well, that's about it for the video today. I covered the 70mm A810 Lite dash cam with the 4K front and 1080p rear cameras. I showed the software setup on the dash cam as well as using the 70My app. Lots of cool features, including the 4G hardwire kit that lets you view the dash cam anywhere, and you're not limited to Wi-Fi connection. After that, I showed daytime and nighttime videos driving from the front and rear cameras. And though I must admit the video quality is not quite as good as my T800 dash cam by 70My, and that's because the T800 is their top of the line dash cam system, while the A810 Lite is an entry level version. So you got to give up some of the quality for the price. And that said, I think it's a good value for the money. If you're interested in purchasing this dash cam and the accessories that I showed in these last two videos, please see the link in the video description. Don't forget to use code RANGER for a discount. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.